Hi, Mr. Cool here again, and today's topic is solving multi-step equations. And our goal for today is we're going to solve equations containing more than one operation. And our California standards that we're going to cover for today is 4.0 and 5.0. Now, let's go back and do a real quick review. We need to remember the distributive property, and that means if you see something that looks like this, it's going to be A times B, and then A times C, and it comes out to be A times B plus A times C. And combining like terms. So if you have 3x plus 5x, you're going to have 8x. So notice that the two x's right here, if they are the same, then you can combine them. If this had a little power of 2, then you cannot combine them. So as long as your variables are exactly the same, then you can just combine your coefficients. Alright, let's start off with our first one, and this is just a basic multi-step equation, which means there's just more than one operation going on here. And if you look at this, you have 5 times m plus 13 divided by 2 is equal to 1. So the first thing that we want to do here is we want to get rid of that 2. Just because the whole fraction thing, let's make it better, make it a lot easier for us. So we're going to go ahead and, if you remember what we did with the one-step operations in 2 steps, anytime that you see this, when you're dividing by 2, you want to multiply by 2. So I'm going to have 5m plus 13 over 2. We're going to multiply this by 2. And that's equal to 1, and that's also multiplied by 2. Because we're using the property of equality right here. And that's going to give us a multiplication by 2 here, by 2 here. So this and this right here becomes 1. If that becomes 1 and you multiply that by 1, you now have left 5m plus 13. Now this side we have 1 times 2, and we have 2. So now you have a basic two-step operation here, or two-step equation. So we're going to undo plus or minus first, so I'm going to subtract 13 from both sides. And I have 5m left on this side is equal to, and now if you look at it right here, you have 2 minus 13, and so if you want to rewrite it out here, it looks like this, 2 minus 13, and according to your addition and integer rules, you have that. So you have 2 plus negative 13, and that's going to give us negative 11, because you subtract here, and then you take the sign of a larger number. So here I have this, and then I'm going to divide this by 5, because that's multiplication. I'm going to undo the operation of multiplying by dividing by 5. This and this becomes 1. 1 times m leaves me with m. This side I also have to divide by 5 because of that property of equality. If you divide here by 5, on the other side of the equal sign, you're going to have to divide by 5 as well. So negative 11 divided by 5. I know it's not a whole number, but you can leave it as negative 11 over 5, or you can change it to negative 1 and, let me see, 6, oops, I'm sorry, negative 2 and 1/5, because you can take 5 and put that into 11 2 times. Okay? Either one is an acceptable answer at this point. Alright, the next topic we're going to talk about is solving multi-step equations by combining like terms. And again, this is something that you've done before when you're simplifying expressions. So anytime that you see that they have the same variables, we're going to go ahead and do combining like terms first. And just like what we did last time, we went ahead and circled what we have. Okay? Those are the things that they have in common. We're going to combine them first. So 6a plus 5a gives us 11a minus 1 is equal to 10. And because we're really just combining here, there's nothing else to combine here, so we don't have to do that property of equality, or equality property right there. So we're just going to go ahead and combine this, and now we have, again, your basic two-step operation. So here we're going to go ahead and add 1 to both sides, because we're undoing subtracting 1. We're going to plus 1 plus 1. minus 1 plus 1, that actually gives us 0, because if you have a negative 1 and you add 1 to it, they're complete opposites, it gives you back to 0. So here you have 11 times a is equal to 10 plus 1, which is 11. And then we're going to go ahead and undo any multiplication or division. So here we have 11 times a. To undo that, we're going to go ahead and divide by 11, both sides, property of equality. A is equal to 1. And again, if you want to do a quick check, place your 1 back into here and here, because remember you have two a's here. So that's 6 plus 5 minus 1 is equal to 10. You can also put it back into here. If I take this, 11 minus 1 is equal to 10. So either one, these are your equivalent equations. Alright, our third thing that we're going to learn for today is solving multi-step equations by using distributive property. And here we have a distributive property situation right here. So the first step is we're going to distribute. And again, when you distribute, you are taking your number out here and you're multiplying to everything inside of the parentheses. So if I multiply here, that's 3 times 3, that gives me 9x, and don't forget about the x. Then I'm going to take the 3, multiply it to the negative 6, that gives me 18, or minus 6. If you took 3 times 6, you'd get 18, and don't forget it is a subtraction question here. So now we have distributed. Let's rewrite. So now we're going to undo your adding, subtracting. So I'm going to undo subtract 18 by adding 18. That's going to give me 9x on this side. And again, if I added 18 here, I'm going to need to add 18 here, because that's that property of equality right here. 18 plus 18 is going to give me 36. And I now have 9 times x is equal to 36. At this point, mentally, you could probably just tell me what the answer is. But just so that we know for a fact, we're going to go ahead and undo the multiplication by dividing by 9. That gives me 1. That leaves me with x. Divide this side, property of equality, by 9. Because what I did here is divide by 9. I'm going to divide by 9 here as well. X is equal to 4. Take this and check it. If I put the 4 in here, that's 12 minus 6, which is 6. 3 times 6 is equal to 18. Alright, the last and final one is solving multi-step equations by using distributive property and combining like terms. So we're cramming those two things that we learned previously and putting them together. So first off, you want to distribute. And if you look at this particular part right here, and this one is very tricky, that minus 4 kind of, it's together. Because what you're talking about here is you're taking 8v minus, and you're subtracting everything inside here, but you need to distribute this 4 first. So we're going to rewrite this. So here, we're going to do minus 4. That entirely is going to be subtracting this entire in the parentheses. So it's going to be negative 4 times v, so it's negative 4v. And you are also doing the same thing here, which gives me negative 32. Okay? And once again, you are taking this negative 4, I know it's a minus 4, but negative 4 times v, negative 4 times 8, which will give us a negative 32. Bring down what you did not work on. Okay? Now we've just distributed this special case right here. And remember, this only happens when you have that minus in the front. Because remember, you are subtracting this entire part inside. Now we're going to go ahead and combine like terms. Here's my like term 1, here's my like term 2. So here, 8v minus 4v is going to give us 4v minus 32 is equal to 8. So we've just now combined like terms. So again, we're going to undo subtract 32 by adding 32 to both sides. Is equal to, plus 32 right here. So now you have minus 32 plus 32, that brings us back to 0. So all you have left on this side is your 4v. And again, your main goal is to isolate that variable. 8 plus 32 is going to give you 40. And what you have here is you have 4 times v is equal to 40. And we're looking for what v is. And we're going to undo that. Now again, at this point, it can become mental math. So you can mentally solve that part up until this case if you need to. So here, 4 over 4 is 1. 1 times v is v. 40 divided by 4 is going to give us 10. And again, you may check this, plug this into here. You may even plug this into here, because this and this right now are equivalent equations. So if I wanted to check it real quickly, plug it into here. 40 minus 32 is equal to 8. So that is my check on this.